Hey everyone, welcome to the Slice of Finance podcast. I'm your host, Jared Taylor. Joined with a very special guest here today, the co-founder and CEO of Puzzle, Sasha Orloff. Did I say that right? I said that right.
You did, yeah.
Orloff?
You got it.
Boom. All right. Well,
nailed it.
we're starting off on a good note. Let's dive in. First, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into Puzzle.
Yeah, my name's Sasha. I'm the CEO and co-founder here, and I've been thinking about this problem for about a decade, but I really felt kind of the pain just in the past two startups scaling to the first one to 100 million revenue and then 300 million of revenue, and sort of really wanting to understand the financial health of my company so that I could make more informed decisions. And I felt that there was a problem in the market, and it's not finance or accounting teams, it's their software. And when that dawned on me, it got me obsessed with wanting to solve that problem.
And you've described Puzzle in the past as QuickBooks plus OpenAI plus Stripe. Can you elaborate more on that vision? Actually, before you do that, let's take a step back. You run into someone on the street, they want just a high level overview of Puzzle. What do you tell them? And then let's go into the vision.
I usually say brace yourself, because I'm the founder of one of the most exciting companies in the world in the industry that you probably would guess when I say exciting, which is accounting, obviously. And then they would say, well, what does that mean? And I said, I think there's an opportunity, and the quickest way to think about it is if I used to say if QuickBooks meets Stripe meets OpenAI. Actually, on stage last week at Startup Grind, I said, if QuickBooks and Stripe and OpenAI had a baby, it would be called Puzzle. And somebody raised their hand in the audience and said, 3 people can't have a baby. And so I was like, all right, I gotta think about how to reframe that. But if QuickBooks and Stripe and OpenAI all came together to create a new company, it would be Puzzle. And what I mean by that, I think, to get to your other question, is QuickBooks is easy. They've been the default accounting software for 38 years. So very well understood as the technology called a general ledger, which is the backbone or the structuring agent of accounting. And then we sort of think about it as OpenAI, because so much of accounting today is still manual, and there's so much more improvement to both automate a lot of the workflows with a focus on accuracy, rather than like some of the other stuff. Like, we're not generating images or videos. Like, we're focused on using AI for judgmental accuracy and helping people support and learn and train better. And then Stripe, meaning a best-in-class API that allows for automation at a level that has been unheard of in anything else. Like, it's so easy to get started and customize and create something for your unique business with Stripe. And I think accounting has the same way, because every business is slightly different, and you need to be able to make sure that you are giving them the tax compliance and insights unique to their business.
Why, I mean, for really forever, right? Why has this been such a frustrating... Let's focus, I guess, for the sake of this episode, on the founder piece, right? Why has this been such a major pain point for founders before, Puzzle came along?
There's 3, I think, contributing factors to this. First is that in order to get the arguably sort of like truest sense of financial health, you have to do accrual accounting. And QuickBooks by default is a cash accounting system. And that means effectively, in order to do accruals, you're doing it in spreadsheets. And that's where you see your like gross margin, your EBITDA, and sort of the true sense of, is your business financially healthy? It means you have to have a balance sheet that gives you a true sense of the assets, liabilities, and shareholder equity of a company. And that isn't really the main reason why QuickBooks is successful. It's been very flexible, and it's focused on compliance. Well, as an entrepreneur, the second piece is, as an entrepreneur, the things that I care about is a lot of the underlying data of accounting, not the actual accounting, when I'm building my business. And so one of the major frustrations, which kind of comes tangibly, is, are my books accurate? Because I can't verify whether my bookkeeper is doing a good job or not. They probably are, but like, I can't verify it. It's not possible. And second is, like, I care about cash. And as soon as you start doing accrual accounting, you lose visibility of cash. And I need cash for budgeting, runway, and payrolls, because I can't pay people on accruals. I have to pay them with cash. And so that's really important. And then the third thing is, a lot of the things that are important in building a business is required timely data. And accounting today is like, I get my flat PDF or Excel file of a static summary set of my data from like a month or two ago. And I'm making decisions today about next month and the month after, not about what's happening before. And so the timeliness of data is so stale that by the time you get there, it's kind of irrelevant for business building. And those are the three things that we really wanted to solve.
And how has like the game changed since AI has really continued to emerge? I mean, it's been, this is not, for the average consumer thinks AI just became a thing within the last year, right? If you run up to someone on the street, but this has been in motion for years. But I mean, we've seen the biggest jumps over the last 1 to 2 years, right? So how has, there was a vision for financial technologies and what that future looks like. How is that going to evolve maybe over the next 5 years through your lens?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I don't have the right answer. The problem I think today in the world of accounting, so I can't talk broad based about AI, but in the world of finance and accounting, I think so much of the innovation today is trying to help people who can't understand financial statements find information on the financial statements. And so there's a lot of people out there who are like, how much did I spend on Twitter last month? And like anybody that's ever looked at financial, like, how to find that information. It's not like this is crazy, but like it helps you find it faster. The problem is AI hallucinates a lot. And so you get wrong answers. I think we've seen sort of tweets and references out there that like up to 50% of the retrieval of information is wrong. Now, why is that? The real reason is the underlying data labeling and data models today are not set up for AI retrievals. It's set up for like a set of journal entries that are structured to generate a profit and loss in a financial statement. So while I think it's somewhat interesting to like let people ask in their own language, like how much they spend on Twitter or like whatever that is, like who cares? At the end of the day, like that's not like an urgent problem. What you really want to understand are what are the drivers of your business and what is changing over time. And that doesn't need AI. So where can AI really, I think, make an impact? A lot of accounting, just like most business building, is part art and part science. And so the ability to understand the foundation of the truth of your business will help you make better decisions in the future. The first thing we have to solve is the garbage in problem. And so when we can solve the garbage in problem, the possibilities of all of the things you can create, better predictions, better accuracy, better understanding of the driver's business, better decision making, that is the vision of what business intelligence should be, but it's not. When we think of business intelligence today, we think of a graph, like a visual data visualization chart. Like, is that really intelligence? No, that doesn't help you make your business better. It helps you look at stuff that isn't numbers in a prettier way. Business intelligence, I think, today is limited by the foundation of the garbage in. And so this is the problem that we're solving. Completeness and accuracy of your core underlying data, and then that will let the market unlock the value. So we think of ourselves as the truth of the history of a company, and then through our API, we let the market build whatever those things are that help you drive your business. So that's what I think is 5 years from now, we're going to have a whole new wave of business intelligence that has never been able to exist before because there's no single source of truth of a company's money.
What are the most likely insights that a user of Puzzle is, I guess, most likely to want to pull, now that, you exist?
I think we're still in the early innings. And so I sort of think about what Puzzle does is it gives you the complete picture, hence the name. Came from like the first CFO of Rippling, was the one that sort of coined it on a call when we were doing interviews. I hung up immediately and was like, Puzzle.io, that's the name of the company. You would need to first be able to see the full picture of your company. I think that is our underrated superpower right now. And you can do that in multiple ways. You can see it on a cash basis, on an accrual basis, or on a trended basis, and then variance. So I think the thing that we think of ourselves today is we give you the power of like a pretty good VP of finance giving you kind of key insights. Now, we don't tell you what to do yet because I don't think AI is at a place where that can come comfortably, but we show you the truth of your business in real time with multiple views. Because your accrual view is important. It tells you a different story than your cash view, and it tells you a different story about your variance and your trended view. So the things that people tend to like the most or the most visited parts of our website are like, what are the top things that changed? We call it the spotlight tool. What are the top things that changed? You set what's significant to you, and then it just highlights it in purple. And then what changed, what's new. So we highlight all that in yellow. So we're not trying to take away your view. We're actually training you on what your financial statements say and where to look on your financial statements and how to evaluate the financial health of your business. And then typically people like the next thing is like our weekly cash view. Here's what your month to date is. Here's what it looked like last time. Here's the change. Here's the money in. Here's the money out. Here are the top contributing reasons why money came in. Here's the top contributing reasons money came out in a way that you understand it. So not with GL codes, but by like vendor and customer. And so it's like a way that feels more intuitive and natural.
So most early stage startups are using like QuickBooks, right? Yep. When they like that's a go-to for now. Yeah, for now. What's, I guess, and here's, I guess here's part of the reason they use QuickBooks. Like the playbook for many startups, as you know, is like QuickBooks with like a bookkeeper or something like that, right? But you to like, I know you have like an accountant section where you can find accountants to work with on your site and stuff, yeah. Right? Through partnerships. Because like when you send these to people, maybe an accountant goes, "Ooh, that like work," some accountants might say, "Are they trying to get rid of me?" But it seems like you've taken a collaborative approach to that. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. We believe that it's imperative that all startups have a human, especially in the moments that matter, an expert, because the liability associated with like not being in compliance, either with taxes or filings, or not having accurate financials when it counts in an M&A, in a fundraise, in a tax time, is detrimental. It's like a binary risk to the business and to the job of a founder. What the way that we think of is that software can solve 3 problems that are sort of persistent in startups that use QuickBooks today. It's not a knock on QuickBooks. It's one of the best businesses in the world, but it doesn't solve 3 things that we kind of uniquely care about as founders of startups. One is accuracy. So think of QuickBooks as an Excel file. You don't know who wrote what on what cell, who changed it at any given time. So we built an immutable append-only general ledger, which means you can't delete anything ever. You can change it and as many times as you want, but you have full transparency, traceable down to the root transaction. So you can trace any transaction to your financial statement, every financial statement back to your root transaction. And that gives you confidence that is accurate and that you know what changed. The second thing that we really care about is visibility and control. And you can't have visibility and control if it's like data, a summary file from like a long time ago. And so you have this interactive, real-time drafted financial statements on a daily basis. And then the third thing that you care about the most is that you're understanding the severity of changes so that you can make more informed decisions. We can't help you yet make those decisions, but we can make you have data-driven decisions. I think most founders want to make data-driven decisions. People that have ambition want to make data-driven decisions, and they just can't today about next month when they're using 3 months ago, 2 months ago data.
And today where Puzzle's at, it's for that to have that better information for founders to be able to go in and see that information. But there's no like projection, like it's not to a point where it's doing projections or anything like that yet, right?
No, we don't do that. So we think about we're the truth of your business, but we do partner with amazing like companies that do that specifically. So a really popular one in the early days is Causal. And so Causal natively integrates. And so it creates a faster, more accurate prediction method. And then as companies get a little bit bigger, runway.com is one of the most powerful forecasting and financial tools ever. And then we have a host of others, and we're adding more and more. But so we think of ourselves as the solving the garbage in problem, and then you can do it. You can also export all your data. You can create your own tables and dashboards. It's your data. You should have it and be able to do with it what you want.
So one of the probably the biggest things that's stopping someone, right? And I know you actually have a solution for this, but I would like to talk about the ease of that. Is I've been on QuickBooks for years. I want to switch over to you. Am I am I crying that I have to go through that data migration? What does that process look like? Have you come up with a solution for that migration?
Yeah, we worked really hard to solve two things really important. If you have not done anything, a lot of founders are like, I'll just do it later along the way. We made it such that you can onboard with no expertise at all. As long as you know your read-only username and password, your username and passwords, we get read-only data. We pull in all of your data directly from like your Mercury, Brex, Stripe, Ramp, Gusto, whatever it is. And then we auto-generate financial statements in like literally minutes. We've had thousands of founders on board. They've never needed any help. We've never had an issue. It's always, as long as you know your username and password to log in through OAuth. The second piece is, okay, well, like you have QuickBooks, you've been using it, and now you're ready to upgrade to a more powerful system because your business is starting to grow, because you care more now, because you have to make better informed decisions, and you're there. It requires almost 30 seconds of work from you as a founder to do it. Most people don't believe that's true. It's really easy. And we just ingest a read-only history of your copy, and then you just pick your date that you want to use Puzzle going forward. So it's May now. You can use it as of January. You can set it January 1st. You can set it May 1st. You can set it June 1st, whatever day you want. And it works. We take care of all of that for you. You send the data and we map it. It takes literally under a minute of your time. It's super easy.
So let's talk about, those are the two biggest, so you did solve for two of the biggest pain points, because there's so many founders too, right? They just get rolling, they get started. I'll get to that later as long as I'm, basic tracking of it, right? But if they already have that bank account and they're not doing things until late, because most of the time they're not getting a credit card, maybe in the early days of the company anyhow, yeah. Right? They're getting a Mercury account. So that'll solve like all of it. Yeah, I'll tell you, like there's not like ill will against QuickBooks or anything. Like you said, they've been a great business, they've been around, but I still don't find it like easy to get the information that I need, or to get that historical snapshot, or if someone changed something, not to say that it's not there, but it's very hard to see like when did that take place, and why did we end up doing that? So I
literally got this text just before this call, and if this is on video, you see here. It says, "Finally set up Puzzle for my business taxes. Holy shit, man! Ha ha ha! It's so good it feels fake. I literally spent 5 minutes, and now boom, here's my P&L and income statement? Question mark! Exclamation! Question mark! Exclamation!" He's like, it's one of those things that you don't think it can be that easy. Let's get this camera adjusting. It's like right there. It's like, so literally insane. The problem is people don't think about their accounting software, because accounting software has never been a driver to help you build a better business. That's just not what accounting is for. Accounting typically is for small companies. It's just for future tax compliance. So you don't think about it. But when you see a demo of Puzzle and you literally go 3 to 5 minutes from now, I can have superpowers of like a finance and accounting team building software, like it just available at my fingertips. You start to feel power. Like it's this weird thing. It doesn't work in marketing language, and people are like, oh my God, I feel so much more empowered. Now, if we put like the accounting software that makes you feel empowered, like that's just not exciting. But it's this weird feeling where like that first time you use Figma, you're like, oh my God. The first time you use Puzzle, you're like, oh my God. It just makes you a better leader. It turns you from like a founder of like a product visionary to like a CEO of a real company from day one. It's just that much better.
I love seeing you get all excited about this.
Sorry, I love it. I've been working on this for 5 years. I love it. I get this text this morning. I get these texts or Slack messages or tweets all the time. And it's like, this is what we work so hard for, because I know how hard it is to be a founder. This is my third company. I know how stressful it is. I know how lonely it is. And people look to you for answers. And when you have this, you always have this little bit of imposter syndrome, no matter whether you're doing your own business, you have your side hustle here, that like being an accountant takes 6 years to study. Being a CFO is years. All of a sudden, you get these insights and this stuff just sent to you or pushed to you. And you just feel like you can be that leader that you want to be. At least from a financial point of view. And that, I love that when that happens. That's why we work so hard.
I love it. Yeah, and this is why I do video, by the way, so I can see like the eyes light up and get excited when talking about it. So I'm sure there's a lot, but if you had to kind of focus in on a few, what milestones, you've been doing this for a few years now, what milestones are you particularly proud of you and the team?
I think from just a product milestone, I love that we can empower founders from all backgrounds to be able to get started for free and be able to just see what it's like to feel empowered. And you can do it. I think the longest it's ever taken is like 5 minutes of time. The shortest on average is 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes from now, before this podcast ends, you can feel more empowered about building and running your company. That part I feel really proud of, that we've created an onboarding experience where we took dozens of charts of accounts and revenue models from hundreds of later stage venture capital backed venture startups into it. That part I love. Two, we're growing on average, at least for now. It's not going to keep up, it depends, but 50% month on month for the last year. That is really, I love seeing that. And we haven't started marketing yet. We're going to start soon, but like, it's just this word of mouth because founders get there and they go, holy shit. And then they tell their other founder friends, they're like, dude, you get it. And they're like, accounting software, who cares? And they're like, just literally go set it up. And if you don't like it, just delete your account. It's your data. There's no hooks. We don't track your data. You can literally just wipe and delete data. And that sort of gets people really excited. And the next milestone that we're really working with right now is building this partner network so that if you have a bookkeeper, you're just giving a more powerful software. If you started and you didn't have any bookkeeper, you can find one on demand in minutes. Like it's just, we have a whole network there. And then the worst part is, why I don't recommend this. There are some bookkeepers who are just like, I'm a QuickBooks or die kind of bookkeeper. And like, I know how to solve it all. And really at the end of the day, if their interests aren't aligned and they're just like, I'm going to do this, we need to give founders the ability to say, listen, I need to use Puzzle. It helps me become a better leader. And I understand you're here. I would like for you to learn. And if you don't want to learn, I need an alternative. And so that's what we're building out now. We have a whole training system filled with CPAs and bookkeepers to train bookkeepers and accountants so they can feel comfortable, and a free training and certification program. But we needed to build out. So this is what we're building out now. And I'm really excited. We're onboarding a new firm about every other week. And so there's lots of options that specialize in crypto and SaaS and e-commerce and like small business and large scaling business, have CFOs that also do accounting. And it makes me proud that to scale in that journey with these like really, really great founders.
I love it. I'm so excited for you and the team. And my last question is around, some of these integrations that you mentioned. What's kind of the core stack that you see? Like, I know, obviously you said banking, you mentioned Mercury. Mercury is, by the way, the best banking tool I've used, like personally. So then you have a bunch of integrations with like the different AR tools as well.
Yeah.
Like
so
like Bill.com or do you have them yet?
Yeah. So we focus on the core, most popular modern solution. So you can use any bank account and any credit card sort of through Plaid, but the places where you can have the most accuracy with the most automation are the modern tools that build APIs. So on the banking side, that would be like Mercury built us like a custom native API, so we can generate really stable reconciliations and transactions. It's pretty great. Brex and Meow as well. On the payables, like spend side, Brex also, Ramp, has, I think, the most robust accounting automation API in the business. Bill.com as well. And then on the AR side, Stripe and Bill.com, we're adding a couple more now that I can't talk about. And then payroll side, Gusto and Rippling and Deal. And we're adding more about every other month or so, and a lot of really cool stuff coming up soon.
How do you distinguish though? Like, this is something that QuickBooks typically has trouble with, right? You get some safe notes that come in for early stage company. So you get these. We'll edit this out. I froze, but 1 second. Let's get back. What a face to freeze on too. So let's say you get these, you have these transactions where you have some safe notes that come in. QuickBooks typically assumes that this is revenue or something, right? I get my bookkeepers like, is this revenue? If I didn't tell them, like, I guess, is there a workaround to that? Like how or do you still need to kind of to educate it?
Jared, if I could have paid you to prompt a question, this is like one of my favorite ones in the whole world, because this is a place where it shines. When you have an accounting software that is focused on accuracy first and speed second, instead of like whatever else anybody else thinks on, and they're like playing around with AI stuff that like, who cares? This is like one of my favorite use cases of AI, because this is a real problem for startups. And it comes in two ways. One is when you don't provide context or receipts to your bookkeeper, effectively think about it. You're adding $25 to $50 on every single thing that you do, and you're adding all this back and forth. This is one of my favorite features that we built Puzzle. Okay, so we see this thing come into the bank account and it's like wire or whatever. Now, sometimes there's detailed information, but usually not for safes because it's there. Sometimes if there's a convertible preferred note, it's a VC fund and we can parse those pretty well. But sometimes you don't know. And safes and these angel funds come up with all sorts of crazy, silly names about what they are. So what our system does is, because it's trained and it's trained specifically for startups, is we know that we don't know what it is. And so what it does is you can create this setting called sort of the AI categorizer, the AI notification. So you can say, give me deposits in my bank account that are who knows what over a certain dollar amount. You can set it to whatever you want to. It'll just send you an email, Jared, at the end and say, hey, there's like $100,000 deposit in the bank account. What is this? And you just reply back to that email in human language. Hey, this was a safe note, or this was an investment. And it's trained on accounting. So it will also know if you say something like an investment, it'll respond back and say, hey, Jared, was this a safe or a convertible note, a preferred note, or something else? So it'll give you an interaction model completely in email. You can, of course, do this in the app if you want, and it's coming in Slack soon. And then it will categorize it and it'll appropriately put it on the balance sheet outside of your profit and loss statement into the appropriate category. Similar thing with fixed asset. You go to Apple, you don't know what it is, you don't provide a receipt, you don't provide a context. The bookkeeper has no idea. So they're going to send you, Jared, and your team a whole list of stuff at the end. Now we can just flag it and say, hey, Apple, what is this? You can reply back, this is a computer. It knows, okay, well, we're going to go put it on the balance sheet under fixed asset. We're going to depreciate it according to your policy for 2 or 3 years, whatever you want. And we're going to automate the first computers and hardware expense along the way. All you had to do was respond back and say, this was a computer, this was a safe. It is one of my favorite features.
And you just got me to sign up after this.
Sweet.
Officially. I had a feeling I was going to sign up before this, and I kind of mentioned it to you before you hopped on, but I'm like, selfishly, I'm going to ask you questions that I know the audience wants to hear, but I'm also very interested in learning. That is the biggest, that was one of the biggest pains. It's also like obvious, right? Like, let's say there's a company that has a software as a service company that has like this low subscription rate, and then they get a 50,000 early stage, safe note that comes in, and sometimes QuickBooks will say, oh, revenue. No, not revenue.
Yeah, not revenue.
Not revenue at all. Like that would be
throws
crazy.
Off your P&L, throws off your burn, throws off your runway. And it's one of those things that is actually like one of my favorite applications of AI, because it throws off everything. If you're taking equity, doesn't belong in your profit and loss statement, definitely not revenue, and everything gets off. So if you're trying to make critical decisions about your business and these things are wrong, then you're actually hurting companies' ability to be successful. So you're messing up. So this is one of my favorite features. And then we tag it so that when you're going through your official formal books close, or when the bookkeeper is, you can see the note. Jared said this was a safe, and like later they can clean it up and add supporting documentation, but it doesn't block them from closing the books accurately. And then they can clean it up for compliance purposes later, but you're not blocked, because we generate these daily drafts and we tag everything with high, low, medium confidence or AI categorizer. There's a full audit log. It empowers you and your team to be successful in the least amount of time. We actually categorize and prioritize by number of minutes it takes people to do stuff divided by the engineering hours. And so we try and accuracy first, and then try and make this as delightful and as least time consuming as possible.
I love it. And just want to let you know, Sasha, usually I only do 15-minute episodes, and we're at about 30 minutes here. So no, that is based on interest. I saw the timer and I'm like, we're going to keep going. Selfishly, I'm super interested too. So I wanted to learn more and more about, what you're building, what you're doing, and kind of that vision. And I really appreciate you spending some time here with us today and educating us on Puzzle. And thank you for all you're doing to innovate in this space. We need that innovation.
Thanks. And I just want for you and your listener, like if you need any onboarding support, we have a whole dedicated team. Just click that intercom button and ask for help. They're here to make sure that you're set up successfully, that you have any questions along the way. And I just personally, as a founder, if you ever are like, God, I wish Puzzle would like build this thing, or like, could you improve this thing? Or like, I don't like this thing, or this one. Please just, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter. You can DM me, DMs are open. You can just email me at sasha@puzzle.io. Like we have a whole team that just wants to make this the best software for you. So don't hold back. I don't have any feelings. You can't hurt them. Give me unfiltered feedback. We want to build and make this the most amazing software for you guys possible.
As the kids say, you just gave everyone permission to slide into your DMs.
Bring it on. I love feedback.
There you go.
I want to make this as awesome as possible.
Thanks so much, Sasha, for joining us here today.
Thanks, Jared. Appreciate it.